Swaddy, hi, welcome to Be My Guest, the program which brings you successful stories of expatriates and artists who are living in Thailand or making a living in Thailand. I'm Sarojha Ratanapian, and right now we are at 22 Kitchen and Bar, Dusit Thani, Bangkok Hotel. So Carl Fagerol once said that what I like about photograph is that they capture a moment that's gone forever and impossible to reproduce. So I guess many of you agree with the saying, right? So today in this episode of Be My Guest, we are talking to a photographer who presents the life, the world and the cultures through his lens. That is Mr. Peter Arnold. Okay, so right now we're with Mr. Peter Arnold, the photographer and the painter. Swaddy ka.
Swaddy kap. Swaddy kap, Ling.
So first of all, could you introduce yourself to the fan of Be My Guest?
I'm Peter Arnold. I'm an international photographer. I started off as a beauty photographer many years ago, went on to fashion. I've done all sorts, and I've traveled all over the world doing extraordinary work. And now I come to Thailand for 3 months every year. I've been coming here for many years and watched Thailand change over the years. And I love the Thai culture, I love the Thai people, and I always find something very interesting and exciting to photograph here.
Okay. So what about, you mentioned about interesting things in Thailand. So
Yes.
could you explain or elaborate on that more on what are interesting in Thailand?
I think Thailand has changed so much in the last few years. When I first came here, the culture was so strong, everything was interesting and exotic and Asian. You never saw a lady in jeans or trousers, for instance, you know, and even in the country, all the men wore sarongs. And now, in the last few years, it's become just an international cosmopolitan country, still with its own culture and flavour. The people are still so kind and nice, and as you say, always smiling, you know, and I love it here.
So why did you choose Thailand, you know, because you mentioned before that you come here every year, you know, for 3 months. But
Yes.
why Thailand?
Many years ago I used to go to Australia, and I always stopped in Thailand as part of the Asian experience. I got to know Thai people, I like the Thai culture, I was interested in Buddhism, and after many years of taking photographs here, I thought perhaps I could give something back. And I actually helped build an orphanage in northern Thailand, Chiang Mai,
okay.
and got Phalang sponsors for many children here.
Okay, talking about your jobs and your
Yeah.
work, so could you explain on what, you know, do you do for being international photographer?
Nowadays, I've moved from a sort of slot hole, you know, of photography, and I've become a fine art photographer. So I travel all over the world still, and wherever I go, including Thailand, I try and do a specific project. For instance, I'm in Thailand now. Last week, I was photographing fashion for International Fashion Week, and then worked through the weekend. I was photographing Siamese fighting fish, quite extraordinary, but wonderful colours. On Sunday, I was at Chatuchak Market, and I was photographing beautiful hibiscus flowers, which are grown here, for a section of a new flower book I'm doing. And then on Monday, I went to the countryside near Ayutthaya, and it was extraordinary. I went to a water lily farm, Dogbua farm, and I was wading up to my waist in muddy water, taking photographs of the beautiful exotic flowers. And it was very funny, the people who invited me to go were very country people. And all the workers and the mother and father and daughter were all standing laughing at me so much, up to my waist in muddy water, not to be done by a Falang.
So as I noticed, your jobs are very diverse. So how diversity in your jobs, has become your passion in doing this job?
Well, it's also what has made me internationally successful. I started in beauty, then just by chance I went into flowers, and I've done quite a few books that all became immediate bestsellers. So that's the direction my photographs took me. But now quite a few galleries have picked me up and want to sell my work. So I need to come up with new and interesting projects all the time. And that's how I moved into fine art photography.
I see.
When I started photographing, I was always photographing on film. And really it's the film photographs, silver gelatin and things like that, that have become valuable. Museums are buying them, art galleries want to deal in them. And so a lot of my old work I'm putting into that sort of media.
I see. Okay. And I am seeing right now, it's 2 books of your collection. So could you show some pictures, of your masterpieces?
Yes. So my books, the first book I did was a book on tulips, not this one. And it was so successful, an immediate bestseller worldwide. And several times I've been invited back to Holland when they produce new species, new varieties. And they asked me to photograph particular flowers. And I've actually done 6 books now, just on tulips.
Wow.
And it is very difficult to do a whole book just on one flower and make it interesting and exciting. And when I get back to England in April, I'm going to Holland again, and I've been asked to do another book on tulips, which I'll do, of the new varieties in Holland.
Okay, so how do you manage, 6 versions of tulips books?
Well, my history in beauty photography has stood me in good stead. If you're photographing a beautiful woman, you think, oh, she's got lovely eyes, beautiful shaped face, lovely textured skin. And so I started photographing flowers as if they were beautiful women. So I go, oh, beautiful texture, lovely smooth petals, nice graphic shape. And I always try and bring out the character of the flower for that particular variety.
I see.
And that's what makes them different.
Okay.
And of course, they're all such wonderful, exciting colours. This is 2 very popular ones.
So, we can show to the viewers here. So,
yes,
you mean the pink petals here are very interesting colours?
Again, 2 completely different varieties. This one soft and delicate, this one delicate in a different way,
I see.
And these designs, I think, are so good and so modern. They come, travel the time. And I think just now, a lot of the fashion worldwide is becoming very floral.
I see.
So I've been asked to do flowers for fashion and fabrics and things.
Wow.
Yes,
okay, so when you combine, flower or floral pattern with fashion, is it your future plan of doing that, or you are currently working on this?
I have been working on it for a long time.
I see.
I did a collaboration with the designer Alexander McQueen some years ago.
Wow.
And he did his famous orchid dresses, and Naomi Campbell, Kate Moss modelled them for all the magazines, and they're very, very successful. And then later I did another collaboration of tulip photographs. But I'm a painter as well as a photographer, and so much has been done with my images that I feel it's time now for me to try and do something of my own with the photographs. I've got a lot of connections here, and I know a lot of young designers, and I'd like to do something like designing scarves, silk scarves. I'm very interested in the Thai silk industry. And the colours would show off the colours of my flowers beautifully, you know. And I think it's the right way to go. You know, I'd love to do something here.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And what about is there any future works of yours that you are going to combine, or past work, you know, that you have combined Thai cultures in your work or masterpieces?
In the past, I've done most exciting things, you know, not the flower ones, but I've taken the culture. There's a picture of a young novice monk. I was photographing in Meijam.
Okay, which is this one,
Yes,
is that
that's
right?
Yes, yes. And we were taking photographs, and suddenly a little wild owl just flew down and landed on the ground near us. I thought, oh, he looks tame, I'll go and pick him up. Picked him up on my finger, and I thought that would make a wonderful picture. So I put him on the novice's finger, and he was so worried that the owl would peck his nose or something, you know. But anyway, that's the result, and now that picture is hanging in the National Portrait Gallery in London, and they've used it for promotion, and it's been very successful.
Okay.
But I've done a whole series of photographs of Thailand and Southeast Asia, and had exhibitions in London, New York, all around. You know?
For your exhibition, is it hosted often, or how do you manage, you know, to host your events or exhibitions?
In the past, I put on exhibitions myself. I was invited by galleries to put on exhibitions, and now I have a gallery that sells my work internationally. For instance, you know, in the last few months, I've had 2 exhibitions in London. They exhibited in Beijing, Singapore, New York. So while I'm enjoying myself on the beach here, my pictures are selling somewhere, which is nice, and my books.
Okay. Apart from, you know, the function of the exhibition to make you get some profit or money, so what is the function actually, you know, in terms of the artist's value that, you know, all the viewers can get, all the, you know, people who come to the exhibition can obtain?
Yes. Well, I think photography has become more and more part of the art scene. You know, it's appreciated as art and not just a function to take a photograph. Again, I was brought up a time when, you know, so much went into taking a photograph because it was on film and everlasting. If you photographed that, it lasted forever. So it was important for me always to think, well, this is an interpretation of light on a subject. And I think now that everything is digital, they can just change the light, you know, and so, you know, I don't think they appreciate that photography and cameras were originally the portrayal of the effects of light on whatever they were photographing, and could change mood, the creative look, art, everything, you know. So it's stood me in good stead all my life, and I always try to come up with something creative, new, and something special.
Okay, creative, new, and something special.
Oh, I must say, when I was in America recently in the desert photographing sand dunes, and I thought, oh, how am I going to make these look different or something special? So I waited until midnight. The full moon was out, and I photographed them at night, and they gave a very sort of surreal, distinctive, symmetrical and graphic look, and those photographs have become famous all over the world, and I've won awards in America for them, and so I always try and get something different, something unusual. Sometimes you have to wait and let the light change, you know, for that special moment.
Okay, but for now it's time for a short break. We're right back and we learn more about this guy, you know, this very talented photographer, and also some of his painting as well in the next break. So please stay tuned on Be My Guest.